Soldering is a basic skill that comes in handy more often than you would think. Today I'm just soldering together a few wires. Now I'm using some Klein wire strippers, and some people use a X-Acto blade or a utility knife. There are probably 101 ways to strip a wire. After the wire has been stripped and you reveal maybe about a 1/4 inch, a little more, a little less, then you want to coat the copper in just a little bit of solder. So this will heat up the copper to a temperature to where the solder will stick, and we'll just allow it to make a more solid contact with the other wire. So we're just priming the surface. I'm soldering to this pair, which I already have tinned, but they're a little long, so I'm going to clip them. And the nice thing about tinning the wires is, since there's already a little bit of solder on them, you may be able to connect them without adding any more solder. Just hold them real close together and run the iron back and forth on top and allow the solder to flow. And that is a solid connection right there. This is probably the easiest way I know to solder. There are plenty of situations where you may need to add more solder, you may need to hold the wire, and there's always helping hands. But I will say that I use these as little as I can, especially on thin wire, because the gator clips will leave marks on the wire as the insulation heats up in the areas around the solder joint. And so if you do use this, hold the wire as far back from the solder point as you can. And finally, you can either use a heat shrink tube to keep the connections isolated, or in my case, I think I'll just use electrical tape. If you wanted to do heat shrink tube, of course, you'd have to slide on the length before you solder it together. It was insightful and that you learned a few tips. Thank you for watching.